What is going on, guys? Welcome to your 23rd Java game development tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about sprites. And I'm not talking about the soda pop, I'm talking about a moving animation. Now, we already made the type of animation where there's pretty much a single image and it just changes image, and depending on how you change it, it gives the appearance of an animation, like a face just standing in one place blinking, or a guy standing there waving his arm. But what if we wanted to have like a ball on a screen and have it move around the screen? Well, there's two different types of animation. The first one we already learned is called static, an animation that stays in the same place on your screen. And what we're going to be building, a sprite, is a dynamic animation, or in other words, an image that moves around your screen, like Pong, like the ball in Pong. So let's go ahead and we'll begin coding it. I made a new class called Sprite, and this is going to be a lot easier than our animation class. We already pretty much got everything built. But first, in our Sprite class, we need a couple things. Instead of just like a single image moving around our screen, what I am going to be building is the animation, the guy with his eyes blinking, and he's going to be not only blinking, but he's going to be blinking and moving around the screen at the same time. So we're going to need to use that animation. So private animation, and we'll just name it A. And what we're going to be doing is saying, alright, we want a sprite to move around on the screen, and then it says, alright, what do you want to use as a sprite? And we're going to say we want to use this guy blinking. So that's where that animation comes in. And we need 4 more variables after this. We need the position of the sprite, which is going to be changing every time it loops, and this is private float x. And you don't want ints, because when you're working with pixels, you don't want it to, sometimes you don't want it to move an entire pixel every time. So what if like only in 10 seconds you wanted it to move 1 pixel? Well, you would have it move 1/10 of a pixel every time, so that's how you do that. So private float x to get the x positioning of the sprite, or wherever it is on the screen. Private float y to get the y positioning. And you need 2 more, which is the velocity of x and the velocity of y. So this x and y's positioning, you should know how many pixels over, how many pixels down. The velocity is the speed, pretty much. Velocity is actually distance over time, I believe. But what we need to tell it not only where to go, but how fast to move. And the velocity of x is how fast left and right should I be moving, and how fast up and down should I be moving. And well, you'll see once we start programming those, but that's what these variables mean. So the first thing that we need is a constructor. So let's just go ahead and type constructor right there. Did I spell it wrong? Good enough. And then go ahead, public, I named my class Sprite, just like that. And as a parameter, it's going to take that animation object. In other words, as your parameter, tell what animation do you want to use. Animation A. And what you need to do is set this.a equal to A. And what this means is whatever object you're referring to, its A is equal to A. So this is from whatever object is calling it, which we don't really know right now, but it's going to set its A right here equal to whatever object we passed it in. And that's, well, you should know how to use the this keyword by now, but that's how you do it. It takes this whatever object and sets it equal to the object we passed in. Easy enough. So let's go ahead, and after this, what we want to do is we need every time this method gets called update, it's going to move the position of the sprite, because that's what sprites are all about. It's not just a single object, or excuse me, a single image that chills in your one place on your screen the whole time. It's an image that moves around your screen. So in order for your image to move around, you need to change the positioning of it. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and put change position, and make sure you spell that like that. And we'll name this public void update, and it's going to change its position based on the time that has passed. And remember, we already calculated this in another class. So long time passed. And how can we calculate the position based on time passed? Well, first let's do the x positioning. X, the positioning, is equal to the speed of x times time passed. So although this may be confusing, let me try to explain it to you guys. Now remember, velocity is pretty much, I know it's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing as speed. So say you wanted your animation to move an inch a second. So this is your speed, 1 inch per second right here. And if the time that passed, we passed it in 1 second, then it says, alright, add 1 inch to x. So if your velocity was an inch per second and you only passed in half a second, then x would say, alright, I'm only going to increase half an inch. So that's pretty much how that works. So once we figure that brilliant idea out, just copy that and change these to y's. Same thing for y positioning. No, excuse me, that's the velocity of y. There we go. And after we do all that, what else can we do with time passed? We need to a.update time passed, and what this does is take the time passed and calculate where in your animation you should be. So this calculates where on your screen that image should be. Should be in the top left corner, bottom right. That's what this does. In your animation update, when you call this method, remember we built a method in your animation class that says, alright, according to the time, should my guys' eyes be open? Should they be closed? Should I restart my animation? Where in my animation is that? So that's all you get for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to be building really simple stuff, a bunch of get methods to get the position, set the velocity, stuff like that. But just don't skip over it because it's kind of important. But we are well on our way to animating sprites. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next tutorial.